Oh my God, we're back again. Grossi Posse Packer Nation. Welcome to an episode of Packast, the podcast where you're not a Packers fan, but it sure does help. I'm your host, Tom. I forgot to flip over to the next page where we actually picked this draft pick, Grossi. And yes, after just doing the A.J. Dillon video, I am shooting these videos back to back, and because now it's time to talk about Josiah Deguara. Yes, the tight end that we picked in the third round with the 94th pick from Cincinnati. Okay, just similar to how I talked about A.J. Dillon, I don't hate the pick. For this one, I absolutely hate the spot in which we took him, in which we could have definitely gotten him later. And if not, I would have been okay with that too. And I like Deguara. I think his versatility is great, but this for me was a reach beyond all reaches. And in the third round, especially when we don't have a fourth round, the fact that we didn't go with some other position. You know what? You don't want to get a wide receiver? Fine. You don't want to go get an inside linebacker? Fine. Give me something. Give me a defensive tackle. Give me a cornerback. Something. But we go tight end. And I think the most ironic part about this is during the stream, we had Jay Sternberger on, the current tight end of the Green Bay Packers. And it was after the second round, and I was like, well, at least we didn't draft a tight end. And, of course, the monkey paw, they boomed us. They boomed us. So, yeah, Josiah Deguara from Cincinnati, 6'2", 242 pounds, ran a 4.72, okay, in the 40-yard dash. He's the second tight end in a row that we picked a third round. Obviously, Jay Sternberger was last year. He's been described as a run blocker in that he is very willing to block, which is a good thing. The first thing I thought of, like, oh, maybe a Mercedes Lewis successor. When I was messaging Jace, he was like, don't worry about it. He's a fullback. So, that's one of the things I like about him. He's super versatile. He can line up in the H-back. He can actually perform in the passing game when he has space. He's kind of slippery and he slips behind the defenders. In 2018, he had 38 receptions, 468 yards, and 5 touchdowns. And in 2019, 39 receptions for over 500 yards and 7 touchdowns. So again, not like mind-blowing stats, but if you go and watch his tape, like he sneaks behind, but it's not just utilizing him as a passing threat, because we drafted Jay Sternberger, and I know we threw him right into, after his injury, right in a fullback position as a blocker, but his skills were, coming out of college, were definitely leaning more towards a passing threat. And now here, we're getting a guy who could potentially do it all, but more in line with being a blocker. It makes sense because obviously we got rid of Danny Vitale, and we're going to be utilizing guys to line up in the fullback position. My biggest question for him is, why in God's name did we draft him in the third round? That for me makes little to no sense, because I don't know who's going after him. I had Dalton Keene going later, and Dalton Keene actually was a pick that came shortly thereafter him. And you know what? And again, I don't hate the pick, but the problem is that there's so many other issues. There's so many other holes. And Gutekunst was asked about this, and he's basically saying, like, listen, these are the guys that we had the best on the board. And ESPN and all the mock drafts we do, I understand that they don't mean crap. The rankings don't mean anything because teams are looking at it from their own system. They're evaluating players through their own whatever. And now, I don't know. It just doesn't make sense to me considering all the other needs that we have. Now, you could look at this because, like, one of the needs I said the Packers I thought would immediately address was offensive tackle. We're getting blockers in there, so Josiah Deguara could definitely be a blocker. I also see him being used as a 2 tight end set, so that could be dangerous, as, obviously Mike McCarthy couldn't spell 2 tight end set since we never threw to our tight ends since Jermichael Finley. But I get it, but I just don't get the third round pick. I really, truly don't. I don't think the value is there. I would have taken him in the 5th And if he wasn't there, we missed out on him. Get me another wide receiver because we still have Mercedes Lewis for another year, who's obviously going to be a blocker back there. And Jay Sternberger has also shown that he could obviously line up as fullback and can block. So I'm not entirely happy with this pick. I get it, again. And I feel like that's what it's come down with the Green Bay Packers for this draft, is that we have holes that we identified. I identified them on this channel. The Green Bay Packers said, screw your holes. That sounds dirty. And they said, no, we are going to draft BPA, best player available, Ted Thompson route. Screw your mocks, and if we need to trade up to get him, or we need to reach to get him, we're going to get him. And again, we cannot judge this because we don't know what they're going to look like. They haven't taken the field yet. I just hope that this can help the Green Bay Packers right now. The number one question in all the comments that I'm going to get is, oh, are these guys going to help stop the run? No, they are not. No, they are not. I pray that we address that issue. Will we? Hell if I know. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. You can always find me at TomGrossiComedy.com or at TomGrossiComedy on all social media you see down below. Check out Packast on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play Music, Spotify, and of course YouTube. And a big shout and thank you to all the Patreon members over at patreon.com/TomGrossiComedy. But thank you so much for watching. No stream tomorrow, at least during like the regular drafting hours. I'll be putting out videos for every single guys that we wind up picking, and maybe we'll do a stream afterwards. But I appreciate you guys. We broke streaming records tonight, so that was great. And I hope I was able to provide enough entertainment and distract you for a couple hours. But thank you so much for watching. I'm Tom Grossi. And as always, go Pack Go.